Today we're going to look at some essential lighting and grip accessories that I think everyone should own to help you shape and control lighting. Shower curtain diffusion, one of the best lighting hacks that I came across. I've used it as a bounce source. I've used it affixed to the exterior side of windows on houses to cut the light coming in. I've wrapped it around lights to diffuse those. Super versatile. It's waterproof as well, so if you are fixing it onto the outside of a house and it rains, it's not going to get ruined. It's cheap anyway, so even if it doesn't really matter. And then bonus that comes with like eyelets and fixing holes on the shower curtain anyway, which gives you an additional handy option for mounting it or running it through a C-stand boom arm. I've just gone with Amazon basic shower curtains, as in I found the quality of the diffused light to be perfect. I'm sure if you're working on much larger productions, where minuscule improvements are important, then yes, spend almost 5 or 6 times on some soft silk diffusion. I'm sure you'll notice the difference, but I think if it's something that you're using invariably or you're just starting out, a shower curtain is just like a really cheap and valuable thing to have in your lighting kit. I think generally just having a collection of different materials and fabrics in your lighting kit is also really useful. So stuff like unbleached muslin, bleached muslin, and then some sort of like blackout or dark felt or anti-reflective material. You can get large amounts very cheap on Amazon. I think it's something you should always keep in your car, always keep in your lighting kit. They're packed down really small and compressed, so you can actually just often fit them inside the cases of your lights. Unbleached muslin is really good for bouncing light off. It adds a slight nice warmth to it. It gives you really nice diffusion. Bleached muslin is also really good for diffusion as well. Often just wrapped it around reflectors. But having a collection of fabrics is not just good for diffusing or bouncing light. They're really good for sorting out problem areas in your location. So if you've got like a big black widescreen television in the back of your shot and it's like drawing attention away from your subject, often not, you can just chuck up and gaffer tape some unbleached muslin around it and it instantly just blends the object back into the background and you don't notice it, as you can see in a shot here. Bleached muslin is also really good as sort of gaffering over windows to cut the level and diffuse the light coming through. Often we've just gaffered it halfway up a window to replicate shears and to cut like a sort of a hot window in the background. Because it is just white fabric, it easily just plays as like curtains or some sort of shears that already were in the location. And again, if you've got a neg or a thick black material, you could also just use that and put it over a window to cut the level coming in as well. I will absolutely never be able to figure out how to put down these larger 5-in-1 reflectors. Like, I spend at least like 20 minutes a week on location trying to pack one of these down and I still can't figure it out. Small ones are fine, I can do it. These big ones always challenge me. But I think a 5-in-1 reflector is an absolutely essential piece of kit to have in your arsenal. I think a lot of people think that they're like a photographer's tool, but they're really important in motion as well. I started off with a smaller one and then also picked up a larger one as well. As the name suggests, they serve many functions. Using the main fabric in the main frame, it's great as a sort of inefficient bounce source or as a layer of diffusion. And then the various reflector fabrics that you can drape over it and zip up. You've obviously got a white, a silver and gold, which basically act as different colored temperature bounces or reflectors. And then you've got the black side, which is great as a negative fill. Obviously for cutting lights, maybe bringing some shadow back to your subject, or it's also great as a backdrop, an impromptu backdrop. Both the white side I found and the black side can help. In product videography, I've used them to completely black out the background in a small space and isolate a subject or a product or something like that. These things are just super versatile and they're super affordable as well, so I can't recommend them enough. So taking that one step further, I've also found these coloured textured backdrops are also fantastic. You can get them in all different colours. They tend to have 2 different colours on each side. They pack down like a 5-in-1 reflector and they're great at just transforming smaller spaces and creating more interesting coloured textures in your shots when you're dealt with a crappy environment or location to work with. They're also great that, if you're shooting interviews across different locations and you want consistency across those interviews, you could use one of these textured backdrops. Great for product photography or videography. And in a lot of circumstances, they're much more efficient and easy to use than like a colorama. With a colorama, you often need 2 stands and a crossbar. You've got to sandbag it. If you've got one of the long 3-meter coloramas, they're impossible to transport. And I find that these pop-up textured backdrops are just super versatile, easy to use, and they're fantastic. I absolutely love these things, and if you're going to get anything on this list, I would recommend picking up one or a couple of these. Cardellini clamps are basically clamp, a pin, just mount a light on top of that, and then clamp the clamp pretty much anywhere, and you can clamp it upwards or you can clamp it downwards. Their clamps are super strong, so as strong as you can clamp it basically. They've got some really nice grip to them. Bookshelves, door frames, anything that has some sort of ledge or grippy thing that the clamp can attach to. They're great for backlighting in small spaces, so often in people's homes when you can't fit a light stand behind the subject but you still want a hair light or backlight them. Often just clamping one up high on a bookshelf will allow you to light them without having to put a lighting stand in the background, so they help you eliminate stands from your shots as well. I've used them with clamp heads to clamp LED lamp lights and tube lights. You've seen some in my recent videos. They're just a really versatile piece of the kit and will often, allow you to enter unknown situations with the confidence that you'll be able to mount your lights where you need them. So grip equipment is super important. You're always going to want to attach something to something. You're going to want to hold something. You're going to want to pin something to something else. You want to clamp something onto something. So having a set of clamps is just like an essential bit of kit for your lighting kit. Always those sort of last minute fixes where you've got to fix a little bit of extra diffusion onto something or clip some fabric over a window to cut the level. Having a little box full of these clips or clamps is just super useful, and if you haven't got any, make sure you go out and get some. I would avoid the cheap plastic ones. They are super cheap and super tempting to get. Problem is, as soon as you introduce them close to anything that is remotely hot, they will melt and become useless. Basically, don't scrimp on these. Just get the proper heavy duty metal ones. Are only a fraction more expensive and they're going to last. And then off the back of that, a modification of that is something, I don't know really what they're called, but a clamp head. It's basically a clamp that connects onto the head of a lighting stand and then transforms your lighting stand into a clamp on a stick, freestanding stick. So I've used these to hold LED tubes, clamp and hold 5-in-1 reflectors, negative fill, any sort of object that you need to be clamped, suspended in space. These are super useful. Scrims and floppies are something that you might not need straight away, but as you start to play around with fabrics and diffusion and stuff like that, you might find that owning some sort of purpose-built accessories like these will save time and faff in sort of replicating consistent setups. So, having a big negative fill floppy is great for sort of just walking into position. You can connect them to C-stands. They normally have one side and then another bit of fabric that comes undone, so you can adjust them and you can cut the light coming above someone if there's some sort of difficult overhead lights you can't cut. You can use it to subtract light and create more shape and contrast on the subjects that you're filming. And then scrims and diffusion panels, if you're finding you're always using additional diffusion, having something that's built into an inbuilt frame that you can clamp or slot into a lighting stand and walk in over a subject or a product or something, sometimes is a lot quicker than DIY setup. So the good news is that you can buy all these different size diffusion frames that are often much more consistent and quicker to walk into frame. The downside is that, as you invest in these things, storage becomes an issue. They don't really pack down too well, some of the purpose-made ones. You can buy larger ones with collapsible frames and stuff, which then you have to build in the morning. So it can get complicated, but I think as you go along your lighting journey, you will find some use out of getting accessories like these. Sometimes regular lighting modifiers and attachments don't quite get you where you need to go, and you need to make some more DIY adjustments. and Cine-foil is a really useful tool to have on location with you. Basically, it's just like a sort of thick metal foil with a black coating that is great for basically cutting light. It's heat resistant, so it's safe to sort of put around hot lights. You can shape it really well, you can cut it and tear it really easily, you can mold it into different patterns, you can punch holes into it to allow light to escape. Basically comes in a little box like kitchen foil, really easy just to keep with you at all times. And I promise at some point you'll have it in your kit bag and you'll need it and you'll thank me for it. Gaffer tape, I think it goes without saying, it's just one of the most useful things that you'll need on your shoots, whether it's fixing loose cables safely to the floor, or hanging fabrics over windows, or fixing one thing to the other. Even here, whilst I'm shooting this YouTube video, we've got some freestyle gaffer tape use, fixing this microphone to this light stand. It's just a wonder material, and I can't imagine what life was like before it. Having some sort of like power extender, extension lead, extension drum, something like that, I think, you know, at the most basic level is a must. You're often going to be in venues or offices or homes where you want freedom to position your lights wherever you want, and you don't want to be tied to wherever the power outlets might be. So obviously being able to extend where those power outlets provide power to where you want your lights are is super important. You may also find that you need more than one power outlet and only one socket is available. So having something that expands the number of sockets available to you is also really useful. Obviously be careful, just watch how much load you're placing on an individual socket, make sure you've done your due diligence and you're working safely and all of that sort of stuff. But generally, you know, working with lower powered LEDs, you shouldn't run into too many problems. You know, once you start getting into the larger, more professional, higher output lights, you really need to start paying attention to the wattage of the lights and how much you're drawing from a socket. Crate, we all love crates, egg crates, milk crates, foldable crates. Once you've bought all the stuff on this list, you need somewhere to put it. So I love these folding plastic crates. I got them off Amazon. When I'm not using them, they fold down and pack away easily in the boot of a car or somewhere in the flat, under the bed, under a sofa. And then bring the box to each shoot, and then I've got my nice selection of tools to work with and draw upon whenever I encounter a problem. Foldable stool, step, whatever. I mean, I'm a short person. Whenever I need a few of those extra precious inches, I always keep a little foldable stool in my car. Helps me adjust lights. You can also get these really nice foldable stools to sit on, and you can impress clients or directors by whipping one out. This is my fairly random but informed, non-exclusive list of essential lighting kit, grip and accessories that I think everyone should own for their production work. I hope you found this useful. There's loads of items that I've left off that I will save for another video, but if you have any suggestions or any must-haves that I've not mentioned in this video, just drop me a comment down below and we'll be sure to feature them in another video. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Affiliate links for all of the items mentioned in this video will be in the description. But I'm Ed. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.